Alright, what's happening, dudes? My name's Kevin Duty, and we have a pretty interesting little knife review today. We're talking about the CJRB Maileah. But before we get to that, just a couple little housekeeping notes that I would like to inform you people of. We are at 42 subscribers right now. My goal, without looking too far into the future, you need to make small goals for yourself in order to reach them. So my goal is 100 subscribers at the moment. And my plan, once I reach that 100 subscriber mark, is to have a live event and to thank you 100 people for subscribing and watching my videos. I'm going to be giving away some stuff. Definitely a knife, maybe 2 knives, and possibly some other little goodies. So what I'm asking from you is to share this video, share one of my videos that you think is good, share them, like them. Obviously, you're probably subscribed already. If you're not, you better be subscribing right now. And just help me get to 100 subscribers. That would be so cool. And if you're one of those 100 people, when it comes time for the giveaway, you're gonna have a 1 in 100 chance of winning something. So that's pretty good, if you ask me. So yeah, I would really appreciate that, guys. And with that, let's get to the review. I really like this knife. Spoiler alert, I love it. I love it. First, before I tell you the reasons why I love it so much, let's talk about specs. This is a cool little front flipper knife, but you also have thumb studs for means of deployment. We have a blade length of 2.39 inches. I kind of don't like it when knife channels use decimals as, for the form of measurement. At least for me, my mind works in fractions of an inch. That's how I do things. I build stuff all day. I'm a welder, and I deal in fractions of an inch, not really decimals. So I always like it when someone will say, hey, yeah, the blade's 2 3/8. In my mind, I can picture exactly that length. So I think for this channel, we're going to do both. It's for both types of people. So the blade length is 2.39 inches, and we're looking at about 2 1/4 inches. The overall length in decimal is 5.51, and in fractions is 5.5. So that one was pretty easy. The blade steel we're talking about here is AR RPM 9, which I believe is a CJRB patented steel. It's a powder steel, and I believe it is their thing. I'm not positive on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that steel it's their steel. They came up with the combination of materials to make it, and it's theirs. And from what I can tell, it's quite good. I haven't really used the crap out of this thing, but I've definitely opened a lot of boxes with it, and it's holding an edge quite well. I've only ever stropped it. So the thickness of the blade stock is 0.1 inches. We're looking at a blade shape of a nice reverse tanto. Really like this blade shape. Perfect for utility cuts. These types of draw cuts where, you really don't have to lift the knife too far up to get to the point of it, where you're going to get that pressure for your nice cuts. So really nice blade shape in my opinion. And that about does it for the specs. Let's talk about it. So the reason I love this knife so much, mainly, is all the means of deployment. This knife is very fun to mess around with. I will sit for hours watching a movie, just flicking this thing. So let's go through them. We have a front flipper. Bam. fires out. So fast. So easy. Bam. We have the, whatever you want to call this one. Would you call that a over-the-top front flip? I guess. I don't know. You can also do the over-the-top, or the reach around, if you will. Really easy to do all of those. Very, very easy. Then we move on to the thumb studs. You got a thumb flick, and you can do the reverse flick. And you can even do a reverse flick with your pointer finger. That one's pretty fun. So that's, I mean, that's a lot of means of deployment, you know. I have a couple other front flippers that also have thumb studs, and they are not nearly as fun as this one. For some reason. I'm not quite sure why. I know part of the reason is this detent is amazing. Listen to that click when it shuts. Oh. It's so, so good. I mean, it's so satisfying to deploy this thing. I'm telling you guys, it's amazing. Now they make a larger version of this knife called the Maileah, and I really want to get it because I'm hoping that it's just exactly the same knife, just a little bigger. The same detent, same action. I hope it's all the same because I think if this was a little bit bigger, it would honestly be even better. This is the only small knife in my collection that I really love to carry. You know, I'm typically not a small knife type of guy, but I really like this thing. So let's quickly do some size comparisons. Let's get out the bug out. The old bug out. Not sure how I should line these up. Should I go pivot to pivot? Yeah, let's do that. Let's get out the old Spyderco PM2. So yeah, it's a tiny little guy, or girl. Actually, it's a girl. The designer of this knife is a lady by the name of Swags. I'm not sure what her first name is. I think that's her YouTube handle, maybe. I know she's a YouTuber, I believe. And man, she really knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's check it out against the old rats. The old pack of rats. The Rat Model 1 pales in comparison to the Rat Model 1. And the Rat Model 2. A little closer in size to the Model 2, but still quite a bit smaller. So there's a couple little comparisons for you. You can tell it's a very small knife. Let me get my, let's see, let me grab another small knife here. I have a Bird Robin 2. Got my my Bird Robin 2. This is Spyderco's budget line. So yeah, it's even smaller than the Bird. So I mean, I really don't have a lot of cons with this knife. I would say number one pro is the action. You know, it's running on bearings. I don't know if I mentioned that. I mean, it's a small knife, so it doesn't really fall shut, but you can easily shake it down. Another huge pro is the detent, obviously. Another pro is the blade shape. Really like the blade shape. Very utilitarian. So the only cons I can really think of is, you know, the ergonomics are not the best. But you can't expect much in the way of ergonomics from a small knife. You know, you just can't. There's not enough room for you to put all of your fingers. I do not hold the knife like this, which I can only get 3 fingers on. I can, however, get 3.5 fingers on it if I hold it this way, if I choke all the way up and put my pointer finger here, which is fine. if I really needed to grab this knife and put some pressure into it, this is how I would do it. But in all honesty, you know, guys, I'm only using this knife to really, you know, open packages, open a bag of dog food, you know, just light stuff. And in that case, I'm doing these kind of cuts usually. I'm doing a draw cut, or I'm just grabbing it lightly and just slicing through something nice and easy. So I can't complain too much about the ergonomics. Number one, it's a small knife. Number two, you don't really need to get a really, really secure grip on this thing. Just don't need to. The only other con I can think of is the access to the lock bar is not great. You can see that they have a cutout there in the liners and in the G10 there for you to get to it. I'm not sure if it's just because it's a small knife, but it's a little hard to get in there. You're almost kind of putting pressure down with your thumb as opposed to, you know, a side-to-side motion. So it's not horrible, but I wouldn't say it's the best access to lock bar. So yeah, the clip is okay. It's not inset, but we have flat screws on there, flat head screws, so they're not poking up, you know, far enough to really get in the way of anything. I like that it's a nice small clip, you know, small knife, small clip. So yeah, I can't really complain about the clip. It's nothing incredible, but it works fine. We have a little bit of a lanyard area there if you're one of the lanyard people. And let's see, reverse pocket clip. I like the little pivot collar here. I like the colored thumb studs. This knife originally came in a jade G10. But I've lived with that for a while and then decided to dye it this bluish purple, which I think looks great. So if you're looking on the website and you don't see this color, that's why. If you ever want to dye your knife skills, you know, you're looking at knives and you don't see a color that you particularly like, get the jade scales, and then you can dye in whatever color you want. Those they take the color really well. At least the colors I've tried. Left-handed, this knife is fine. I don't really practice left-handed much, so I'm a little bit more clumsy. But I'm operating it fine. Left-handed, for sure. I love this knife. You're not really gonna understand what I'm saying as far as the pleasure it gives you to open and close this knife until you get one. And I recommend that you do. They're I believe they're only like 40-45 bucks. So highly recommend this knife. I love it, love it, love it. Let's hear that detent one more time. That juicy, clicky, lovely detent. Oh. Why is that such a good sound to me? Oh, I love it. I just love it. Let's hear the detent on, let's see, this knife for a comparison. The red one. Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference? Yep. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. I recommend you grab yourself a CJRB Maileah. Great job, swags. Great design. I'm going to be picking up the larger version soon, and you will see a video on that one in the next month or two. Thanks for watching. Adios.